Sacrifice, hustle pay the price. Want a slice, got the...
Didn't think you'd be back this semester.
Neither did our parents. I just wanted to say I think...
Hello, welcome to Movie Musters. Michael Rainey Jr. of Power Ghost discusses Tariq going into predator mode and warns that anyone could go. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost's final season debut this week, which is bittersweet to know. But wow, did they bring the fire for this run. Following a crazy and delectably twisted Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10, the debut continued where the last one left off, with Tariq and Braden running for their lives while attempting to figure out how to survive. The world appears to be against Tariq and Braden, but since this is the Power universe, it's definitely fair to say that before this special series comes to an end, they will throw us a few curvy balls. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10, Tariq Reacts. Over the years, I've had the good fortune to speak with Michael Rainey Jr. multiple times. He is not only one of the most gifted actors of his time, but a good person in general. We talked about everything from Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 to his time on Power generally, and he responds to everything with great care and honesty. We also needed to discuss the supporters. Episode 10 of Tariq Works Power Book Roman 2, Ghost, Season 3. Tariq and Braden's preparations after the events of the Season 3 finale are heavily featured in the opener. It made me consider how we've watched the two of them mature and form a friendship and relationship on TV. Could you elaborate on how their friendship has changed with time and what to expect from it in Season 4? It's been a difficult journey to watch Braden and Tariq's relationship develop. The road has not been easy. Riley and Braden had their own situation, and that didn't sit well with Tariq. And even though they constantly argue and have tiny arguments, they eventually come back to that brotherhood with comments like, "Yo, whatever comes up, I've got your back." That then is their story for this season. I got your back. Really, they are the only two. The others turned against them. Therefore, this season, the brotherly component will need to be more prominent. You folks will undoubtedly witness that. I've already asked you this. If anyone, Tariq has faith in them. Do you believe that Braden can fully rely on just one person? Or is it still your opinion that he can only rely on himself? Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1, They Need a Plan. Though I don't think he can trust anyone completely, he does believe that Braden is one of the most reliable persons in his immediate vicinity, of course, excluding Mom and all that. Related, what's next for Starz' most popular franchise as Power Book Roman 2, Ghost draws to a close? Compared to everyone else, he has the greatest amount of faith in Braden. Regarding others, there is zero trust, but in Braden's case, there may be a small amount, perhaps 35%, 50%, or so. Tariq has had his back to the wall on several occasions during his life, as we have witnessed. However, I'm not sure he's ever been in a worse situation than he is at the start of this season. What is he thinking after the events of the finale? What's going through his mind throughout that entire day of, what am I going to do? Tariq has spent his entire life with his back to the wall. Because, as I mentioned earlier, everyone turned against him. This season is much more. Really, just he and Braden are involved. Additionally, he could trust him, but he found it difficult to do so. He is therefore unsure of whether it is actually just him and Braden. He is unsure. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10, Tariq arrives prepared. He understands how to do this since he's in that predator mode. He's on offense now, so he's making the plays instead of defense. He doesn't wait for others to approach him so he can defend himself. He is now making sure that everyone is aware of the need for self-defense against him. In their automobile talk, Tariq asks Braden hypothetical questions like, "Imagine if we were just college students and things," and similar statements. "I don't know if Tariq really believes that," I said. "Nope." "That's right." Do you believe Tariq has the capacity to ever give up and walk away, or do you believe he will never give up? It seems unlikely that he will leave. It seems to run in his family. That's the truth of it. He just naturally possesses that quality, and he battles the thought, "Oh, I'm not anything like my father." Incoming message episode 10 of Season 3 of Power Book Roman 2, Ghost. He does, however, clearly resemble his father. It was nearly difficult to escape that kind of existence without dying or going to jail, even though his father wished to cease the insane things he was doing. Tariq is attempting to ascertain how he could maintain this way of life without abandoning his family in the manner that his father did. What, in the entire series, perhaps it hasn't happened yet, but we'll see, has been Tariq's biggest mistake? I'm not sure, since I need to give it some thought and I don't want to answer too quickly. I've been in this business for a decade. You can't respond if you are unable to respond. However, yes, I want to avoid giving too much away. I want to be as brief as possible. Episode 7 of Chill Tariq Power Book Roman 2, Ghost, Season 3. Fine. Something to anticipate. Which scene from Power's first through third seasons is your favorite? Not this season, but in previous seasons, right? My initial thought was that I couldn't recall even half of what we accomplished. For Season 4, that is no longer applicable. Related, Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Post-Mortem, Joseph Sikora discusses Tommy's comeback and whether peace is possible. It was a fairly great moment, simply having Joseph on set, when Uncle Tommy returned. That was really awesome. I'm at a loss for words, as there were so many memorable moments on set between the original Power and the offshoot. But there is one instance that I will always cherish and never forget: the day we filmed Tasha's arrest in the final scene of Season 6. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 1, Tariq Gets Ready. Given that it was the final day of filming Power and many of our final days together, it was an extremely emotional day. We simply didn't know who we might run into again. Naturally, we were aware that spin-offs and other projects were in the works, but we were unsure of which cast members would return or what would be back. It was simply very touching. Everyone on stage and in the studio was crying, literally, as they were finally closing a chapter. It was simply very touching. It was an insane day. In the 10 years that I've been working on this program, there have been a ton of memorable moments. How could I select just one time? I'm not even sure. In keeping with that idea, there is an enormous and active Power fandom. What words of wisdom would you like to share with the followers who have followed you guys for the past 10 years? Taking a call, Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 2 Episode 1 on a regular basis. Man, I adore the supporters and the fans. Because of the way our authors craft their stories, they essentially, according to the responses of the fans. The writers notice what the fans respond to and expand upon it. As a result, the fans contributed to the creation of an extremely awesome story because everything they responded to inspired a plot point. The show's trajectory was undoubtedly greatly influenced by the supporters, who also helped to keep us working and inspired. We worked for a purpose because they consistently gave us the impression that they were anticipating the next season. My life was changed by the fans, who had a huge impact. Thus, kudos to the supporters. Related, suspenseful scenes that left us speechless. When you played Tariq in the first Power, did you ever imagine how far his tale would go in this direction? Hell no. Not until the 3rd to 4th season's halfway point. In Seasons 1 and 2, I felt like I was simply present. Call me on set, stop by to say hello and goodbye, I'm here for you. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 3, Astonished Tariq. And then I shot a movie called Barbershop, the next cut when we were taking a break from Season 2 to start Season 3. And I think that made people believe and have new kind of confidence in me. When they realized I had promise, they really got to work crafting my narrative. History was written after that. I had recently started working much more, and I had stopped saying hi and bye. "Damn, I'm working with you," I said. "This is not like that." That was not at all what I had anticipated, but when it happened, I was prepared. Although you claim to not recall much from Season 4, could you give us a small sneak peek? Plot twists abound, action is intense, and you guys are familiar with this world, man. As you are well aware, anyone can disappear in the Power universe. Everyone is disposable. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 6 of Tariq in Class. That's my only statement. That's my only statement. Anyone at all. It may be understood by anyone. Tariq is not safe. Nobody is. That's for you all to take as you please. Fine. Then I'm going to add something nerve-wracking. Yes, without a doubt. It's undoubtedly nerve-wracking. The entire season will have people on the edge of their seats. If you were unaware of this and were happily living without it, I sincerely apologize. However, as the series comes to an end at the end of this season, this will be the final Power Book Roman 2 Ghost premiere. Power Book Roman 2 Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 They Need a Plan. Although I still can't get over that news, Power Book Roman 2 Ghost Season 4 Episode 1's excitement did ease some of my anguish. There were a lot of loose ends that needed to be tied off, so it was a great choice to start up right where Tariq and Braden left off in the minute that passed since we last saw them frantically escaping for their lives. Nothing was more crucial than Tariq and Braden's abrupt understanding that it was them against the world. Tariq has been in dreadful circumstances since he was a young child. He was largely responsible for most of them, albeit some were his own doing. Tariq has made a lot of trouble for himself over the years, despite the fact that he has continuously demonstrated his high level of intelligence and resourcefulness when called upon. It's difficult to defeat him, and he always managed to come out on top. That path out materialized in the person of Braden, his best friend, sibling, and occasionally adversary, who has consistently stood by him despite moments when they have never felt more distant from one another. Episode 10 of Tariq Works' Power Book Roman 2, Ghost, Season 3. We would have been seeing them open this season with a few people standing around a graveyard saying goodbye to Tariq while many men played softly in the background if Braden hadn't appeared at the end of Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10. Without Braden, he was a goner, and throughout the entire hour, their emotions alternated between total dominance, confusion, despair, and annoyance. Tariq doesn't get stuck without a plan very often, but initially he was at a loss for what to do. Tariq's expression of sheer shock upon realizing that everyone had set him up was telling you that he's not used to others playing him the way he plays others. It was kind of funny to watch him and Braden argue as they prepared for a Rambo reimagining. Their options were zero, and Tariq at least had a point, whereas Braden would not stop raving about how awful his proposal was. When you have no money, many people want you dead, and you cheat death an hour in advance. Is that really a bad idea? Meeting up with Tariq and Braden Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10. Being Tariq, he would never pass away by lying down. He had worked so hard during Ghost's last days to have his life planned out for him, exactly the way he wanted it. He actually did go to that plane hangar with a few clips and a prayer, but also, gosh, he was so close to it that giving it up wasn't an option. Related, suspenseful scenes that left us speechless. Capturing Anya in an attempt to persuade Noma to sit down felt like the storyline of a Mark Wahlberg movie from the 1990s that has a 20% Rotten Tomatoes score. But once more, when you have nowhere to go, are there any terrible ideas? Anya will undoubtedly play a role in the future, but her entrance here was awkward because she was completely unaware of the mayhem going on around her. Tariq and Braden have frequently dared to tempt fate, and that ambush was one of the most famous scenes in the history of the show. I have no idea how they pulled it off. Although Tariq and Braden were never in danger of dying in the first episode of the season, I like that they had no easy times. Over the course of the hour, they were put through their paces and forced to scrape, claw, and think their way out of a number of horrible circumstances. Sibling Meeting Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 PGs of 401 I Don't Die Easy. Although Drew and Diana's pathetic scheme to abduct Becca was desperate, it was nevertheless far more intelligent than Kane's dash to the Westons, believing that Braden would be naive enough to flee after everything had transpired. After attempting to have their mother killed, Drew and Diana were experiencing quite different emotions, and it was intriguing to observe how fast Diana gave up on Monet after he had done her one favor in her life. She was saved by that good thing, but nevertheless, Monet has repeatedly shown that she will go to any lengths for her children, even if it means enduring horrible things, and Diana's attempt to retract the decision to have her killed made Drew very lustful. Watching Drew and Diana battle it out throughout the season as they attempt to hide their wrongdoings will be interesting, because Drew appears to be sticking with his decision on Monet. On the one hand, it's hard to hold him responsible. Gordo is gone. Pappy is deceased. And Monet gets to pretend as though the suffering she caused her children can be completely forgotten when she hasn't even told them what she did. Despite his numerous facets, Drew's dissatisfaction with Monet will always remain valid. Dark Drew Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Episode 9 of Season 3. To be honest, the entire family ought to be annoyed with one another. It is necessary to put out the poison that is emanating from those Tejada walls. Speaking of Monet, it was a beautiful touch that the individuals whose blood was on her hands were present in the purgatory she was caught in between. She was forced to listen to 3 men tell her everything about herself while she watched herself possibly die. Ramirez was all that was needed to make the point. Monet is one of several characters afflicted by the power universe superiority condition. Believing you are the brightest person in the room is the syndrome's key symptom. You might initially succeed in getting what you want, and it might work for a while, but something always bites back. Drew and Diana started their scheme because they were tired of the hurt, lies, and dishonesty that came with being Tejadas with a mother who made bad things worse. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 9 with a surprise guest. Mecca, also known as our greatest adversary to date, was speaking the truth, but who was Mecca to criticize Monet? He wasn't the greatest love of her life, nor did he serve as some sort of guiding light throughout their brief reunion. He may be upset that she dumped him, but let's be honest about our part in this, sir. Lorenzo was more justified in his anger. Even if he wasn't a very good person, he most likely deserved more than the hand he was handed. There was no reason his children had to bury their father the way they did. Monet, I gave our family my all in whatever I did. Lorenzo, were you killing me for our family? Mecca, oh, and leaving Zeke behind was entirely done out of familial duty. Oh, and leaving Zeke behind, that was all done out of love for the family. Monet has always pretended to be acting in her family's best interests, and although she may think otherwise, that has never been the case. She has always been selfish, vindictive, and more concerned with Monet's needs, wants, and aspirations than anything to do with the kids she gave birth to. Having said that, is she deserving of another opportunity to correct the wrongs? Who am I to pass judgment? Related. What does the future hold for Starz' popular franchise as Power Book Roman 2, Ghost draws to a close? Now that she's dodged death, she has the chance to alter the dynamics and relationships with each of her children, but it won't be simple, especially after she learns the truth. I Don't Die Easy Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 always prepared PGs Forza 1. And you're deluding yourself if you even for a moment believe that we'll get through this last season without her discovering that Tasha was the one who pulled the trigger and that Drew and Diana intended to set her up. If there's one thing Power Season 6 taught us, it's that the sins of the past will never truly go away. Given Tariq's lengthy history of transgressions, it was intriguing that he had only Davis to turn to while he and Braden were attempting to determine how to protect themselves. Furthermore, if Davis is the only person in your corner, then I wish you luck. Having effectively destroyed the last bridge with his horrible, bigoted father, Braden was no better, and really, apart from Becca, no one in Braden's family was a suitable fit for him. Tariq had good reason to despise his father, if he did. However, Tariq was not raised in a household where he was unloved or uncared for. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost, Tariq Outside, Season 3, Episode 7. There was love, but they had a very unusual way of expressing it. Though Braden's upbringing involved a different way of living, the love was absent. Enough of the Westons have been shown to us to know that their cutting Braden off will be a blessing for him. Because they never respected Braden or gave him a strong sense of affection, aside from their wealth and prestige. Despite their newfound kinship, he and Tariq sometimes seem to be treading carefully around one another. They're not the same, but we know that, and we've spoken about the similarities for ages, so I hate to always compare them to you know who. Braden and Tariq suffered because of Riley, but they did not experience a single significant event from which they were unable to recover. But Ghost and Tommy's fraternity and relationship ended the moment Angela Valdez entered Truth. There has always been a rift in almost every connection, platonic or not, because Tariq has never been one to trust people completely. Episode 7 of Season 3 of Breaking Out Power Book Roman 2, Ghost. Not to mention that Braden had given up on everything the day prior. Following Braden's exile, the two had a pleasant yet light-hearted talk. Tariq was waxing lyrical about what life would be like if they hadn't chosen to come into this life years ago, avoided prison, and peddled narcotics. See also, the greatest hate-driven couples on TV. Sorry, Tariq's full of it. He battled for this life because he desired it. To ensure that he could have the life he desired for herself, he killed his own father. He ensured that Tariq would never live in a world where his concerns were limited to finals and females. The clock was ticking once Noma placed a price on Tariq and Braden's heads, and Power Ghost always produces action scenes with the ideal music. The highlight of the hour was definitely watching the two sprint around campus with Assassins and Kane and Effie following on their heels. It was a really classic Power scenario. When it seemed like everything was going to bring Tariq and Braden to Kane and Effie, Junior appeared just in time for him to be slain. Tariq, were you the aunt of Angela Valdez? Braden, Angela Valdez, who the heck is she? Tariq, attorney at law. She was the bitch of my dad. The prosecutor at the federal level. She was the bitch of my dad. Junior young. Braden is upset in Power Book Roman 2, Ghost's 3rd season episode 6. A tiny part of me questioned whether Junior was being set up to be the one to bring Tariq down in the end, completing the circle for his family. But then I realized that everything that happened to Angela was actually her fault, and she never wanted to be saved, so there's no avenging her. Therefore, it wouldn't have gone over well to have Junior save the day. I still didn't think he would pass away so quickly. Given the relationship between his family and the St. Patrick S., you would think that he wouldn't have underestimated Tariq to the extent that he did. However, law enforcement in the Power universe is unsurpassed in its cockiness. In that parking garage, everything fell into Tariq's lap exactly as he needed it, even though it was really only a means of buying him and Braden some time. They should have more time to consider their options now that they are unable to move merchandise, as they won't have to worry about getting slaughtered every single second of the day. Now that nothing has changed but everything has at the same time, they find themselves in an odd situation. I Don't Die Easy Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 4 Episode 1 Noma and Obi work. Tariq bought them, so they're safe, but how do they generate income these days? Do they just go back to school and do what exactly? Even though Noma didn't murder them that evening, they know that she's still hunting them, and that, the moment she has the chance, she'll take another shot to eliminate the threat they represent to her. Could this be the point at which Anya resurfaces? Tariq needs to figure out how to make Noma step down completely or divert her focus. He's now in New York City on borrowed time, so he'd better make the most of it by coming up with a plan. Furthermore, he is unaware of this Detective Carter, who appeared in confession with a frown and attractive eyes, promptly offering his assistance to a distraught Paz. Power Book Roman 2, Ghost Season 3 Episode 10, Tariq arrives prepared. The block is still hot even if the bounty has been lifted. Everything additional you should know. The bickering between Kane and Effie and their subsequent makeout was totally appropriate for them. But because Effie is erratic, Kane will go into difficulties if he falls in love with her. Tariq, beware. She continues to carry a torch for her former flame. Related, 13 characters who accepted the dark side and broke our hearts. There's potential in this new Drew. In the hospital, he urged Diana to suffocate her mother, essentially abandoned her to Hale and Uber on the street. He might be an issue if he maintains this level of enthusiasm throughout the season. Tariq was really disrespectful to Braden before that, especially after everything Braden had just done for him, but it was nice that he saved the day for Braden and Becca. At the shooting range, did we miss Tariq and Braden? Since they appeared much at ease as they prepared for their SWAT assignment. Episode 9 of Season 3 of Power Book Roman 2, Ghost covering his tracks. I'm sorry for Paz. She saw as Junior's ambition overcame him and Angela threw away her life. When all is said and done, will her narrative end up being the saddest in Power history? Who is Denise now? Although I'm not an expert in Power history, I had a hard time recalling any instances in which Denise was killed in any of the shows. Is there anyone who knows? We're back, baby. Given that this would be the final season, the premiere was quite good. In fact, I think it only gets better from here, so it really made me excited for what's to come. What you think of the hour and what you want to see this season, please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.